Carbon seals. They're everywhere in industry today. Military and commercial aerospace, industrial pumps, compressors, marine, and even nuclear and space applications. But many technicians still have plenty of questions when it comes to overhauling their circumferential seal. In this short video, we'll try to give you some tips as we go through some of the basics of the overhaul process.
Before starting, examine the used seal assembly for any unusual damage to it. Make sure it was removed from the application using puller holes of pull slots. Mechanical circumferential seals could be designed with either single carbon ring or with two rings. A two-ring design is used when higher pressure gas is introduced between the two carbon rings. Verify which type of seal you are overhauling. The assembly and disassembly of these two types of seals may differ. Typically, the seal is held together by a retaining ring. There are several different styles of retaining rings, from a standard one that requires only a screwdriver to pull the retaining ring inward to a fireproof ring which has a drilled hole at each end of the retaining ring. To remove a fireproof ring, use retaining ring pliers. Be careful not to distort the retaining ring while pulling it out, since you will probably want to reuse it in the overhauled seal. A single ring seal will have a backplate mounted behind the retaining ring to support the small compression springs that hold the carbon in position. Spare carbon kits typically come with a new set of compression springs as well as the replacement carbon and a garter spring, but you might want to hold on to the used compression springs until you have the new carbon and springs installed in the overhauled housing. With the carbon and springs exposed, the carbon, garter spring, and compression springs can be removed. There are times where the carbon can be reused if little wear is observed. The amount of wear on a carbon should be reviewed by an expert, and we go by the axiom, when in doubt, throw it out. After the carbon and springs are removed, the seal housing should be reviewed for wear on certain areas, lacquer or coke buildup, and handling damage. Of note, anti-rotation features between the carbon and the housing or backplate should be checked for wear and could render the part unusable. These features include wear of the paddle pin or on metallic keys located on the backplate. While not part of the carbon kit, backplates with anti-rotation keys can be purchased from the kit supplier under separate order. If the housing has the anti-rotation features, a backplate replacement will not resolve the problem. The housing seal face is also a critical feature and has been ground to a fine finish. This surface must not have any lacquer or coking buildup on it. These foreign substances can be removed by soaking the housing in solvent and lightly rubbing the surface with fine Scotch-Brite. After cleaning, the surface must not have on-grooving caused by the carbon. To check the surface, a precise indicator on a surface plate could be used to trace across this surface. Changes in readings should be gradual with no dips or peaks noted. In polishing the surface, care should be taken not to round the surface edges. If damage is still noted, the manufacturer should be contacted for direction. Typically, we recommend that the overhauler develop a numeric system for designating an overhauled seal and physically mark the seal housing with that designation. Care should be taken to make sure the marking process does not distort any critical surfaces. Once all components to be reused are cleaned, the reassembly can begin. Your carbon kit should contain the carbon segments necessary to complete a ring, a garter spring, and a number of compression springs. Each carbon segment in a ring is numbered with an arrow showing where the next higher segment number should be assembled. The joints are manufactured so that the end of one segment overlaps the next segment. Once you have formed a circle with the carbon segments, you will need to join them all together using the garter spring provided. The two ends of the garter spring will hook together once the spring is in the circumferential spring groove that is around the outside circumference of the carbon. Several different designs for the garter spring ends could be used, so review your end design before trying to install the garter spring. Some have what is called a double hook design, which requires you to hoop the garter spring before it is assembled around the carbon. Before proceeding further, the housing and backplate should be examined to determine if the carbon anti-rotation features are on the housing or the backplate. If these features are on the housing should be placed with the anti-rotation features facing up. With the carbon held in a ring by the garter spring, the carbon should have the compression spring holes on the top and should be lowered onto the seal face. Care should be taken to get the anti-rotation slots in the carbon around the pins on the housing face. With the carbons in the correct position, the shiny surface of the carbon should rest on the ground surface of the housing. Next, the compression springs should be inserted into the spring holes. The kit contains the appropriate number of compression springs, but if you lose one, it is okay to reuse a clean spring from the original seal. The backplate cannot be placed on top of the springs. The backplate will often be notched to fit around an anti-rotation pin in the housing. Several designs also have shallow grooving on the face into which the compression springs are guided. The final assembly step is to insert the retaining ring into its grooving on the housing. This will involve compressing the compression springs with the backplate until the retaining ring groove is exposed and then working the retaining ring into the groove. At this point, the seal is assembled. We recommend static testing the seal assembly at the pressures shown in the repair manual to verify that the desired air leakage is obtained under pressure. Testing fixtures as well as a control panel are available through the seal manufacturer, or the overhauler can make their own. If these fixtures are internally designed, the designer should make sure to replicate the mounting geometries encountered in the engine.
We hope this video was helpful. Always refer to your repair manual when doing anything with your circumferential seal. If you still have questions, feel free to contact us. We can give you some helpful hints and even help support you with overhaul kits and parts. For questions, please call us at 215-256-0201. Our engineering team will be glad to help you wherever possible. And thank you for watching.